to join us here. And I wish there was a camera inside the courthouse today in the courtroom, because boy, this would be must-see TV. You got Michael Cohen there, the ex-Trump attorney, now testifying against his boss. And his ex-boss there, Donald Trump, he's in court there as well. It has to be a scene right out of a movie, but it's playing out in real life, and it has real life consequences as well. The drama continues out there in New York, and we want to bring in attorney Andrew Lieb, always here to break it down here for us on Live Now from Fox. And Andrew, this is just what a day it must be like in that courtroom.
Mike, you haven't even started to touch the iceberg. Since I was with you yesterday, the Trump team has filed 4 motions to dismiss on things like selective prosecution and First Amendment in D.C. That's one thing going on. Then we, as you mentioned, we have Michael Cohen about to testify. But hey, that's not even like the big deal of the day. The big deal is that Jenna Ellis, someone who was an attorney for Trump's campaign, just flipped in D.C. We have 4 dominoes now. We have Hall was the first one. We have Chesborough. We have Powell. Now we have another domino. Oh, while we're talking about former attorneys, Michael Cohen, the former fixer for Donald Trump that would take a bullet for him, is now testifying and explaining in this civil fraud case why numbers for insurance and mortgages said, hey, we're very, very rich, billionaires. But numbers for taxes said, we're broke, we're paupers, we can't afford insurance. How come these numbers were different? Michael Cohen's going to answer the questions today in court, Mike.
Yeah, and tell me how this shakes out, Andrew, because we got Michael Cohen here on the stand, who has pled guilty in the past, is a known a liar. And how does that shake out when that is your one of your star witnesses there, where you know about his past, you know that he's lied in the past, and how do they know, okay, he's just not going to lie now to cover his tracks and, save his name a little bit?
Well, first of all, we can learn everything from a good gangster movie. And whenever you saw the kingpin, the boss, the mafia boss, when he was brought down by an associate, that associate was also in the mafia. So it's not like we don't have a history of using bad testimony from bad actors to convict other actors. So when we look at that, yes, if Michael Cohen was the only witness, the thing they were relying on, that would be problematic. But Michael Cohen, as he keeps saying, he brings the tapes, he brings the records, he has the documents. The documents speak a world more than he does. I think what he's going to be doing today is what's called authenticating. He's going to be saying, this is the true document. This is my name. This is Donald's name. This is us communicating. And that's how you get evidence in for the people to be able to present it to the judge. In this case, we have the judge, Arthur Engoron, and he's going to be reading this evidence. So it's about the evidence coming in. Multiply that with that there's corroborating evidence. We see that they want Ivanka to come testify. They want to explain why she paid $8.5 million for an apartment that was worth over $20 million. There's not just one person testifying. It's the compound effect. If they were just relying on Michael Cohen's statements alone, that wouldn't be good enough. But the documents, the other witnesses, the corroboration, the compound, all these lawyers everywhere else flipping. It's a bad day to be Donald Trump in the courtroom in New York, Mike.
Yeah, so true. And I want to take, we have the, every day in court there, they give you about 30 seconds, 40 seconds of fresh video of Donald Trump and his defense team there at the table before it gets going there. And when Michael Cohen is on the stand, Andrew, do you think Donald is going to be staring down Michael the whole time?
Well, what we saw with other witnesses, that Trump got so loud, the judge had to tell him to quiet down. I think we're going to see outbursts, not just staring down, outbursts where Trump speaks loudly and aggressively. And he keeps trying to challenge Judge Engoron. This is the judge that gave him a $5,000 fine. This is the judge Trump called a lunatic on social media after giving the $5,000 fine for breaking the gag order. I think we're going to see a power struggle between two alphas in the room. The problem is that Donald Trump might be an alpha everywhere else, but in the courtroom, where the court officers stand standing, the judge is the ultimate authority. So yes, he'll stare him down. I imagine that's a no-brainer, but I expect outbursts, warnings, and potentially sanctions, Mike.
And Andrew, we call Michael Cohen the ex-fixer there. He was a fixer for Donald Trump. If you could just explain to our viewers, maybe if they don't know what that term means, just what it means when you have a fixer as an attorney there.
Well, I think that there's a slang term to it implying some unethical conduct and bullying going on. But I will tell you that the simplest term for a lawyer is when you have problems, he's the guy that solved the problems. So I think there is that connotation that he would bully people, use the Trump brand, go after, use financial leverage. I wouldn't want to use the word extort, but would really pressure people into doing things. I think that's the implication of the term fixer. But really, it's solve Donald Trump's problems. When a problem, call Michael. That's what I see them using that term to mean. But, you know, I wasn't behind the curtain. I don't know. But what I could tell you is today, Michael Cohen's coming out and saying, listen, I went to jail in part because of what happened with me paying off Stormy Daniels. And I want to explain what happened here. And what happened here is I got paid not legal fees, but Trump just paid me. He paid me, called them legal fees, and then he wanted me to use that money to pay Stormy Daniels. It was corrupt. I think that's something we're going to be hearing a lot about today, how this payment worked, how we falsified business records, how we got here, and how the overall mechanisms of the Trump organization works. I can tell you this, from Trump's statements, it seems that Michael Cohen knows every body where it's buried, and it's going to be a fascinating thing. As you said, I wish we had cameras in the courtroom. Yeah. I think it's made for TV drama. I hope you and I get to own the script. We can start writing it right away. And it could be the live now drama series that will be on TV in 3 years, because this is the best show in town.
And, you know, Andrew, this is quite, I mean, this is Shakespearean, right? You have such a fall from grace here when, if you think back to the Apprentice days, where Donald Trump was really king of media and really could never get any bad press. And then you got Michael Cohen, who was his key person there for his to be an attorney, and you think, okay, these two, you know, they're at big heights of their career. You think nothing could happen, and then the bottom falls out right now. I mean, that is, it's biblical.
You said it right. I have to tell you, I'm a New Yorker, and you used to walk around the city and Trump, Trump, Trump. You would see Trump everywhere. He was so big that his casinos could go bankrupt, and you would say, what is he doing next? You wouldn't be even talking about the bankruptcy. The man could walk on water for those years. But just yesterday, we have an appellate court in Manhattan saying to him, hey, listen, you're claiming absolute immunity with E. Jean Carroll, this case where you sexually assaulted, the judge colloquially said, raped this lady. And you're claiming absolute immunity from being the president. Why didn't you raise that back in 2018? Why are you raising it in 2022? He has so much legal going on. You say the bottom fallout. I want to say it's exploding. He has Michael Cohen in court. We have 4 criminal cases. We have E. Jean Carroll. We have the civil cases we just referenced. It's overwhelming. I don't know how this guy is still functioning. Now, I will tell you, it's a great story how he went all the way up, and we had the climax of the story, and now I feel like we're on the way down in the story, and we all want to see how it ends. I will say it was interesting yesterday. He basically told voters they don't need to vote for him. He has enough votes. So how that coincides with all of this, I don't know. Maybe he's not even running anymore. I just don't know. But what I will say is Michael Cohen is going to be damning testimony. And the reason why is he has evidence. If Michael Cohen just speaks and he just says what he remembers, I don't think anyone's going to pay any attention. What I'm interested in is what documents, what evidence, what electronic records he creates the foundation for so they could be admitted to evidence and used against Donald Trump. That's a crux of this case from Letitia James going after the Trump organization, Mike.
So true. And, you know, this is an unfinished story for Donald Trump and really everyone that surrounds him and that was in his orbit at the time. And we'll wait and see just how it all plays out there. But lastly, Andrew, can you just maybe explain this to our viewers on how the let's talk about the psyche of Donald Trump, because I feel like he is the only man in the world that could have this many charges against him. I mean, one charge for somebody could be like, where they don't want to leave the house. They would feel like, the whole world just left them. But for Donald Trump, it always seems like this guy can always just, move the needle and move the conversation. How does he do it? And the charges against him are just continue to piling up, but you would think it's not bothering him. How is that for him?
It's such an interesting psychological question. And we have to reiterate, there's 91 charges, that's criminal charges, felony charges, in 2 states, New York and Georgia, and then 2 federal jurisdictions, DC and Florida. That's on top of this case with E. Jean Carroll. That's on top of the one where Michael Cohen is the civil case. That's on top of what's going on in Colorado with the 14th Amendment and how Trump can't get it dismissed to be off the ballots. It's overwhelming. I have clients that say one civil case is enough and they want to quit. They can't handle it. But I'll tell you what we say in our law firm of all the lawyers. And a good lawyer, this is a good thing. Maybe Donald Trump's like this. Some people get anxiety and some people get adrenaline. When the moment happens, are you someone that rises or someone that falls? I think Donald Trump feeds off of this. The energy inspires him. He talks about how he doesn't sleep. He talks about how he just keeps going. I think the more chaos, the more alive the man feels. Although I will give you the caveat. I think that now that we have Ellis flipping, we previously had Chesbrough flipping on Friday. We previously had Powell flipping on Thursday. We had Hall flipping some time before. Michael Cohen's testifying against him. Even the people that get the most adrenaline start to feel the walls caving. And the dominoes are coming and the walls are caving. And if anyone thinks that he's going to get away with this, it doesn't make sense, even if you think that it's corrupt, even if you think it's a cabal or the deep state or whatever other words we're going to do. When you have 4 co-defendant witnesses against you in criminal cases, you have Michael Cohen in a civil case. You have 91 charges, federal and state courts. The compound effect of everything, it's just a math thing. It's not a do you like or do you dislike Donald Trump. He just made a motion for selective prosecution. It's nonsense. You have to read this. It's like they said, hey, they want to go after me, and then they did. That's not selective prosecution. It's about the comparators, why they're going after you. At the end of the day, Donald Trump is just trying to breathe another day, but it's closing in. The walls are closing in, and I wonder if we're going to see a psych change coming up soon. We already saw he didn't know who was in charge of different countries. He just said someone was in charge of Turkey when he wasn't. We'll see what happens next. The guy has to be losing his marbles. If he's not, he's superhuman. That's all I got for you, Mike.
There we go. Yeah, just buckle up, everybody, as we continue to get closer to 2024. More cases will be brought towards him, and then the trials will continue on. Andrew Lieb, thank you again for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. We always appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
To the White House, we do have President